I'm sure that most of you are well aware of the fact that I have a sizable computer collection. From things that are vintage to things that are just old, and even some things that are new. There are a couple of what I would say uncommon pieces, such as this 486 for example, which will be getting a video at some point. And there are definitely some things that you could consider to be rare, such as this Corona Data Systems CS40 all-in-one right here. But I don't have a whole lot of things that are influential in their design. Meet one such example. The Monorail all-in-one desktop computer, model number 7245. So what is this thing, and why is it so influential? I mean, it doesn't look all that special. It just looks like a industrial-grade terminal designed for point-of-sale applications or something similar. No, in fact, this all-metal design is quite misleading. This actually was a consumer-grade computer introduced in 1996 by Monorail Computer Corporation, and it would have been the first computer ever produced, first desktop, first all-in-one desktop, to feature a built-in LCD panel. And this is quite the feat of engineering for 1996. You can see there's a full-size optical drive right there. On the other side, there's a full-size floppy drive. There's a full-size hard drive in here, desktop style, 3.5 inch. And if you take a look at the back, you can see there's, no real compromises in terms of ports and expansion on the back there. Although we'll get into that here in a bit. These things predated, and are way less ugly than, Compaq's first all-in-one, the Presario 3060. And they even predate the first all-in-one Apple Macintosh with an LCD screen, which would be the iMac G5, by quite a bit. The iMac G5 didn't come out till 2004. Keep in mind that this is from 1996. But what about Monorail? You've probably never even heard of that company before. Monorail Computer Corporation, as it was known, was founded in 1995 by the ex-senior vice president of Compaq's PC division, Doug Johns. At the time, in 1995, there were 30 million US households that did not have a personal computer. Mr. Johns, at the time, saw pricing, distribution, and maintenance as barriers to entry. Of course, pricing was the first big thing. $999 was the magic number in 1995, and that was the goal of the Monorail Computer Corporation right out of the gate, was to sell a sub $1,000 computer. Of course, one of the big hurdles in order to do this would be to keep the logistical costs down. And Monorail chose to do this by outsourcing literally everything. Now, okay, maybe not literally. They did design their own computers in-house, but all the manufacturing was handled by an outside OEM. Initially, this was Phelps Technologies out of Kansas City. Any and all shipping and handling of the machines was handled by Federal Express, or FedEx. CompUSA was, at least initially, the sole retail partner of Monorail and took care of all advertising and very limited inventory. And finances, all company finances, were handled by SunTrust Banks, who even acted as the accounts receivable department for Monorail. At the time, FedEx told Monorail that the ideal size for a package weighing between 15 and 25 pounds was 19 by 19 by 9.5 in inches, which precluded, of course, bundling a monitor and a PC together. So that is why they came up with this design here, using a laptop-style LCD panel. This is a dual-scan passive matrix display. Of course, other components on the inside of this are fairly low-end as well. You do have the standard 1.44 meg floppy, but it's only got a 4-speed CD-ROM drive. Packing a Pentium 75 MHz processor from AMD, a 1GB hard drive, and a 33.6 integrated telephone fax modem. You're probably looking at this logo here on the front and thinking to yourself, well, what the heck kind of name for a computer is Monorail anyway? Remember that bit about outsourcing earlier? Apparently even the creation of the company name was outsourced. A company by the name of NameLab was tasked with coming up with a name for the company. The mandate basically was come up with a friendly name that does not use overused computer terms. Things like cyber and tech. Apparently Monorail was what they ended up coming up with, even though it means basically entirely nothing, unless you happen to be a fan of The Simpsons. Outside of the unique at the time design, the LCD panel in a desktop case, full-size desktop drives in quite a small package, again for the time period, these really weren't all that special, and they were indeed very low-end. As mentioned earlier, this initial 7245 model packed a Pentium 75 from AMD, 16 megs of RAM, 1GB hard drive, the 4-speed CD-ROM drive, and aforementioned 33.6 data fax modem. Had a pretty standard port layout. You see keyboard and mouse there. Serial port, printer port, joystick adaptable to MIDI, microphone input as well as line in and out. It even has an external video connection and a reset switch, plus your power switch right there, and of course your plug for the power supply. Then there's this thing down here. You can see visit monorail.com or call this number. You'll note, very funny, that that actually is the model number of the computer. For upgrades and accessories, person-to-person support, and warranty extension. And that was how you were supposed to do upgrades. Not only does this machine use Torx security screws, but there's also this sticker down here that voids your warranty if you so much as dare to open the case. You see, Monorail had a bunch of planned upgrade paths for this machine, from its lowly 75 MHz processor up to 200 MHz processors, and from the minuscule 16 megabytes of install memory to up to 80 megabytes of RAM, and they were all too happy to push all these planned upgrade paths. What you were supposed to do, and I'm sure in practice very few people did this, was to keep your original box, and what you would do is you'd call Monorail, or I guess visit the website, and spec out some upgrades, pack this up in the original box, send it to FedEx, who would send it back to the OEM, perform the upgrades, send it back to you, and hurrah, you have a wonderful upgraded computer. Unfortunately, Monorail had a pretty tough time with this. Critics didn't like the stingy upgrade methodologies, as well as the fairly stingy warranty. Their original equipment manufacturer, Phelps Technologies, went bankrupt pretty early on, and they had to switch to Mitax and SCI Systems. And on top of that, their retail partners were marking the price up above $1,000, which was not good for their image. They did produce one additional model, the Model 133, which upgraded the CPU, the RAM, the video memory, and the CD-ROM drive over a stock Model 7245, but eventually they abandoned this form factor entirely and went to more traditional beige box PCs with external monitors for the business market. These beige models, the MPC 5000 and MPC 7000, if I remember off the top of my head, were released in 1998. Do you want to take a guess at what else launched in 1998? That's right, e-machines. with their sub $500 computers that used identical specifications to those things that Monorail was selling. You see, the race to the bottom in terms of PC pricing kicked it into high gear at this point, and Monorail just, quite frankly, was not prepared for that as a company. Monorail got out of the PC business in the year 2000, rebranded themselves as Monorail E-Solutions, a business decision-making company, and then fizzled out entirely in 2002. What a shame. In a way, when you think about it, Monorail's marketing was pretty daft. Remember that these things were intended, or the company was founded with the intention of targeting those 30 million US homes that did not have a computer, first-time computer buyers. But yet, their only retail partner, again initially, was CompUSA. So a first-time computer buyer really couldn't walk into a store and buy one of these things. And yes, the company did take telephone orders, but what kind of first-time computer buyer in the year 1995 is going to think, oh, I'm going to phone Monorail and buy one of their computers? It just didn't happen. Of course, because of their lack of availability, there were lack of purchasers. So there aren't too many of these things still out there. This particular unit was an eBay find that I won't say I didn't pay handsomely for, because I did give quite the sum of money for this, but well, far and truly below what I would consider to be its market value these days, when even Pentium 4s are fetching premium prices, which I think is just ludicrous. But it brings to light something that I think is kind of interesting about these. You see, I have the computer unit here, and I also have the original keyboard. But I did not get the original mouse. And I don't know what it is about these things, but most of the people that I have seen or heard of that have these things also did not get the original mouse. It's kind of weird. I don't really know how that happens. You know, were the mice just that good? Did people keep them for their newer computers and they just got separated? I don't know. But I looked on eBay and couldn't actually find any. Now, I know that what's probably going to happen right now is that all of my American viewers are going to go to ebay.com right now, punch it up and say, you idiot, there's one right here for 20 bucks. Well, you got to remember that I live in Canada. A lot of things on eBay don't ship north of the 49th parallel and are thus not available for me to buy, and I don't even see them on the Canadian eBay website. Which I think is a genuine travesty, because it is not hard to ship things across the border, and I'm not interested in debating that, because it's a fact. Just watch, I'll get flamed in the comments now for daring to say that. But that's neither here nor there, and that is a rant for a separate video. A rant I've probably gone on in a separate video, I don't know. But this video is about this Monorail computer. Alright, here it is on my very messy workbench. All plugged in, cabled up, ready to go. With keyboard and a random mouse. And you'll notice, those of you who are eagle-eyed will note that that does not follow the standard PC, I'm going to call it the PC 99, PC 98, PC 97, whatever, standard color coding. But again, you'll note that if you used the computer manufacturer's peripherals, the colors tended to match. I'm sure that if I had the mouse would have a purple connector. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip this hard switch at the back, and the computer will power on immediately. You can see the screen. I did hear the hard drive spin up. BIOS by American Megatrends. Monorail Inc. Saw a message about the CMOS battery. B drive error. EDO DRAM, P75, 16 megs RAM, and drive not ready because the operating system has been wiped. Now, I don't know if I can actually get into setup on this thing. Let me see if we can do that. Okay, well that's a shame. Apparently the keyboard doesn't work, so I had to switch to this thing. But that allowed us to get into the AMI BIOS HiFlex setup utility, and allows us to see that it looks like the machine has gone back to the year 1980. And since the battery is no good, well, it's probably not going to keep any of these settings. It is Y2K compliant. Believe it or not, this system does have some power management features, but of course it predates always causing power interruptions, or ACPI. You probably noticed that this display really just does not look great. As mentioned, it is a dual scan passive matrix display. So the viewing angles are quite poor. And yes, it does have that external video connector, but why would you use that on a computer that's got a built-in display? I have a feeling that this is not actually going to save my settings and exit because the battery is dead. But we'll see. Well, it might have. Oh, look at this. Microsoft Windows 98. All I had to do was go into setup and then configure it. It will need a battery though in order to keep those settings, because every time you power it on, it's going to do exactly the same thing. I might have to stop the video depending upon what this does next. But I'm hopeful that I don't have to do that. Of course, Windows 98 and 16 megabytes of RAM. Eek. I don't remember what the minimum for Windows 98 was. If it was 8 megabytes or if it was 16. Scan disk. Yeah, I'm sure that's going to work real well. Notice how that entire Windows 98 splash screen looks white. There is some little bits of color showing up here and there. But in order to get the color to show up, I have to basically wash out the rest of the screen to where you can't read it. One of the ever common problems with laptops of the time period that use these dual scan passive matrix displays, or even single scan passive matrix displays. I heard the speakers pop, so we might be getting somewhere. Yeah, I pity the fool that put Windows 98 on this though. Wow. Check out that giant mouse. Yeah, that's probably about right. Windows did not detect a mouse attached to the computer. So I guess my mouse isn't working. Let me see if I can find a serial mouse, if it'd actually work. Okay, I can't find my serial mice at the moment, but I think the mouse just got unplugged. So what I'll do is I will simply just go ahead, I'll let this thing start up. I can tell you why they had this big mouse cursor, and that was again owing to the dual scan nature of this display. The refresh rate's not very good on these, it never was. So it was very easy to lose your mouse cursor if you just used the standard Microsoft mouse cursor. One of the ways to thwart that was to use the extra large mouse cursor. The other way to do that, of course, was with pointer trails. Well, look at this. There's a virus loading in the bottom corner there. This thing has taken almost 5 minutes to boot. I think it just rebooted. And it sure did. I wonder what's up with that. Alright, that's wonderful. Give me a moment. I'll see if I can maybe straighten this out. Yeah, that doesn't look good. Okay, I can tell you that pointer trails are on. But I wonder if this is just going to do the same thing. Oh, now it's loading. Holy crap, look at all this stuff. So I wonder if it just didn't like the fact that I set the date to 2024. I don't know, that's weird. Also, equally as weird. Well, Duke 3D is not that weird, but look at this. What is the Windows 3.1 File Manager doing as a shortcut on the desktop? Why is the Windows Explorer a shortcut on the desktop? Some weird stuff going on here. I'm waiting for the system tray to load. You can see, kind of interesting. This does have some of the special Monorail stuff running. I don't know what that is. It won't load. Oh, there's more stuff loading in the tray here. That's actually loaded. I don't know who that is. This isn't the high contrast scheme, I don't think. 3Com US Robotics, that's probably the internal modem, maybe. A couple of things that aren't normally in the accessories are here. Like Nexon code and copy of tips and tour. I don't know why that's there. LucasArts Ultima Collection. SimCity 2000, that's pretty cool. It's got, holy crap, ICQ. Remember, anybody remember ICQ before Skype really took off? Competitor to AIM and MSN Messenger. Microsoft Game Controller. Why would somebody be using this for gaming? That's just crazy. Norton Virus. Power Up. Power Album. Some stuff in the system tray, of course. Monorail Home Station. I wonder if that actually still works. Nope. I wonder what's in the My Documents folder. I wonder if I want to know. Well, there's a couple of interesting things. Some of these file titles make me really question whether I want to click on them. Well, that sounds great. Huh. That sounds like that's not really working. Alright, that's good. That's very good. I'm going to turn that down because the next thing I'm going to do is play one of these audio files and I don't want that to blow something up. At least try anyway. I don't think it's going to work. No audio hardware is available or the hardware is not responding. Active movie control. Now, oh well. So there's definitely some work to do here. Definitely a lot of work to do here. This is the high contrast scheme. I was wondering about that. Snap from 3Com. New rich text document. Is there anything in it or is it just empty? Yeah, it's just empty. What's on this hard drive? In terms of stuff, or is it just mostly programs? Now, somebody rearranged those drives. I don't know why they would have done that. This is almost, I wonder if this is using 98 Lite. Oh, there's a lot of stuff on this hard drive. But again, I wonder if a lot of that is just on the, just in the programs folder. Where is that? Program files. Yeah, maybe not. Only 109 megabytes. There's definitely stuff in here. I have no scroll bar. There's a lot of things on the root of the drive here that really shouldn't be. And I wonder if they're there from the previous install, because this might just be I wonder if this is an upgrade? ZSNES? Interesting. Again, I question why someone would use this for gaming, because this seems like it'd be a pretty bad... There's a Monorail folder. Well, it doesn't look like there's much of interest in there. My downloaded files, nothing in there. What's in the temp folder? Holy crap, yeah, there's some stuff in there. So what happens when I try opening up one of these HTML files. Of course, it's going to open up Idiot Exploiter, but... Cyber Noodle Soup, number 6. Is this a zine? This almost looks like someone downloaded a zine or something. O.bump. Let's see what that does. Oh god, yep. That is precisely what I thought that was going to be. So again, I'm not opening any of the rest of those. Of course, it never fails, never ceases to happen. There's always porn on a computer that I find. So I'm just going to go ahead and close all of this. Maybe that's why the keyboard doesn't work. Anyway, what I wanted to show off was this, and what I think I'm going to actually do here is I'm going to take this thing out of this high contrast mode that it's running in right now, because I think someone's screwed around with it. So we're going to do what we should be doing here. We'll set the desktop, the only desktop background that actually matters, and we'll wait 20 years for this to do what it needs to do. We'll come back to appearance, and we'll set this back to normal, Windows Standard, apply. I wonder if that's going to change the mouse cursor. It didn't. There we go. Alright, things are back to normal. This was what I wanted to show off. Click here to open and close the CD tray. Well, it almost worked. I did hear a noise from it. I wonder if I broke it. Interesting. Okay, rebooted the machine. The optical drive does work. Not so sure I'm in a hurry to click on that thing again, because it's possible that there's something wrong with that program, or it's trying to access something that causes causes Windows to not really work all that nicely. So, well, yeah, I still can't believe it never fails. There's always, if I find a computer, there's always porn on it. And it doesn't even matter what kind it is. Gay porn, lesbian porn, could be anything, really. It's ridiculous. So, yeah, this is going to have to get wiped. So what's actually loaded in the system tray? That's what I wanted to know. Of course, Norton virus. Task scheduler. There's the CD tray thing. ICQ net detect. Game controller software for probably for the Sidewinder. Yep. This thing, quarter desk clean sweep, and Norton program scheduler. Let's try that again. Let's just see what happens. Okay, that time it actually worked. And it also worked to close it. So that's neat. Microsoft Windows 98. Look at this, it's got the Monorail customizations on it. Yep, this is definitely a customization, or, I don't know, maybe this is a later model that actually had Windows 98 loaded. I don't think they did. I think they stopped making these all-in-ones by then, but I don't know, could be wrong. Had an iOmega zip drive on the parallel port at one point. Itsumi CD-ROM, that looks a little corrupted. Generic discs, Chips and Technologies video, which, again, not good for gaming. There's a Rockwell semiconductor onboard modem. That's probably the one that's actually integrated. I'm sure they were using an outboard modem, and that's this 56K fax modem. That's what all that 3Com stuff is for. Laptop display panel at 1024 by 768 resolution. AOL adapter. I saw Juno on the desktop here. And Crystal Audio, which is not working. So, it's got a hex editor on it, ICQ. Like I said, there's Juno. Might be gone since it's got no icon. Yeah, that's gone. There's definitely a lot of other stuff on here. MIRC. Be kind of nice to fit this with Ethernet, because it does have this right here, which actually leads to a 16-bit ISA slot. But the problem is, because this thing is so densely packed, well, you can't really install much in that ISA slot. Probably, again, one of the many reasons why Monorail chose to not allow end users to install equipment in their machines. I'm guessing that this on-off switch that's right here is not actually an on-off switch, that it's like a standby switch. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So, now it's in standby. See if it actually manages to come back from that. Well, that sounds good. That's funny. So, gonna need some work. And we'll certainly be exploring that in a future video, but that's pretty much it for the Monorail as it stands now. It is a functional machine. Scanning the boot record of Drive A. I don't know why, there's nothing in it. But that's it as it stands. A brief and very crappy overview of the history of the Monorail company, the computer itself, and that's that. Thanks for watching, and if you have any comments, feel free to leave them below.